Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Aquarius. If Aquarius is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And we lift. All right. I hope you all are doing so well. And my goodness, look at this thing. It's a little sparse. They all kind of gravitated to this formation over here. But I immediately want to point this out. It looks like we have a J and a D, maybe like JD. Okay, so if you know anybody named JD, or if their initials are JD, or maybe D and J, they seem like they're important right now. It seems like you're thinking about them. They are in kind of right on the edge of this material area, the mundane life, your manifested physical, corporeal form, and going up into this emotional, psychic space. So I think that they have really been on your mind. You have really been focused on this person. I don't know why exactly, but I am seeing this little heart over here. So that kind of maybe an indicator that this might be a bit of a love reading. This is also in that emotional psychic space. So something you have been thinking about quite a bit. All right, let's see if we can just pull this out. If you've watched any of my other readings, you know I like to kind of turn this. I know some of you think I just ramble and mumble and take too much time in the beginning, but you know what? I have to look at the bowl, and unless you want me to sit here in silence, there's going to be some mumbling and some rambling going on. Okay, so we seem to have kind of we have a few animals on here that are really, I personally love the animals, and that's probably why I view a lot of formations as animals, because I'm very like focused on the nature around me and kind of the consciousness of plant life, animal life, and so these are the kinds of things I see often. And you know, it's interesting, and I often ask for you to tell me what you're seeing in the bowl as well, not because I'm not confident in what I'm reading, but it's so interesting that we see different things, and people read, you know, readings can be very varied depending on the reader. Obviously, we all have our own relationship to symbols and our own history with, you know, just those symbols, but storylines and intuition and relationship with the divine, with the spirit, all of these things, and it all comes together and comprises different kinds of readings. And that's why I love hearing from people, what they're seeing, what they're kind of feeling, because it gives me a view or a perception that I don't necessarily get the same one. So it helps expand, helps me grow. And so, saying that, if you see anything interesting in here and you want to share, please comment. Leave a comment. Let me know what you're seeing and what your relationship to the symbols are. Okay, so I want to look at this bird. It really is beautiful. It reminds me of a seagull. Definitely gives me strong ocean vibes, water vibes. Being at the beach, being surrounded by persistent persistent birds that really want anything that you might have, any kind of food or whatever they can take from you. But really, I have such a love for seagulls. I grew up in California and spent a lot of time at the ocean. And so I loved watching them. I loved watching their social behaviors. I loved watching them follow people. I loved the sound of, of the birds on the wind, and it carried for miles and miles. And it just, when you would drive into the coastline, and you started to smell the salt on the air and hear the birds and, hear the waves. And I knew that was, I was getting close to a place that always felt so much bigger than myself. Like, no matter what problems I had going on in my life, whenever I was standing in, with the ocean in front of me, I knew that, things would be okay. Things would work out. Everything was out of my control. Ultimately, I was just privileged enough to be alive, conscious, and experiencing the life that I was blessed with. Even in those, those difficult times and the terrible things that went on, which we all have stuff that happens. So, when I see the seagull, that's where it takes me. So I think that really, you are a person, and you're Aquarius. So I know you're like a very intuitive, deep, thoughtful. You're not somebody who just is on autopilot. Okay. You are very independent. You have your just like specialized ways of existing. You know what you like. You're not afraid of anyone kind of judging what you're into, how you live. You just are an interesting, well-developed person. And I think that, you are obviously, the sign being related to the water bearer, it makes sense. But also having that air element being, very, very thoughtful, emotional, thoughtful, advanced, refined, and and you just have like the tenacity as well. And this is related to that bird, right? You don't give up. And the other thing, you think of like the birds flying against the wind, and then they catch like the current of wind that they want, and then they just go zooming back. And I think that makes sense to how I'm reading you. That you will do the hard thing. You will do the extra work. And then when you get right into that groove, oh man, you're just going with it, right? And succeeding and, very ambitious for self, and you do well. I think you do well. And I want to look also, I see a lot of movement here. This is a cup that is very much, we have a person in the middle that looks like they're dancing, the arms up, and they're just kind of, I just see leaping kind of across this middle section, which is really the center of all the things that you are doing and thinking and feeling, I feel that you are really in a wonderful place. I feel that you have come to some kind of, I feel like things have connected, lined up, and it's like all of a sudden there's been an awakening, okay? And you've really started to notice things that were there, but you didn't necessarily ever give them a second thought before, okay? And I think this has to do with that love stuff. I want to look at this beautiful all of the leaves just piled up on one side here. This beautiful, it reminds me of like an ox, okay? And this is funny because I feel like, well, I know yesterday I did a reading that had an ox or a bull. It looked like an ox at first, but then it kind of, turned it, it looked more like a bull and was more related to Taurus. But this one definitely reminds me of like a musk ox or, you know, some kind of like water buffalo, or it's a big animal with long hair, very, very resilient, slow moving when they, most of the time, but when pushed, they, you know, watch out. They're fast. Very loyal to their grouping of family, tribe. I don't know what they're called, a pack, a herd, possibly. That would make sense. Also related to the waters. You know, you think of these animals, they hang out around water sources because they're so big. They burn a lot of calories. It takes a lot to move around. So they are where food grows, where food is readily available, where, you know, other animals congregate, and where they can get that water easily. The thing that's interesting about animals like this, and this is true of like rhinoceros and elephants and these, and water buffaloes and so on, they actually, because of their movements around these sources of water and their kind of game trails, I guess you would call them. I don't know exactly what the proper term is, but the paths that they take often as a group, they change the shape of the landscape around them because they're so heavy and they're, you know, kind of stomping around, and they create their own paths. And it reminds me of, this is a term that I learned not that long ago. They're called pleasure paths. And these are walkways that we create when we go off the trail. So if you think about like at a school or in a park or something like that, and there are, you know, squared away kind of cross sections or trail or sidewalks. And then you see kind of on the corners these worn trails where people kind of, you know, skip going all the way down the sidewalk. They go across the grass, and then there's like dead grass there, and it's this trail that's worn in. These are called pleasure trails, and these are walkways that we create at our pleasure because we go off course. And it just, you know, when you see where other people have walked, even if you know you shouldn't be walking on the grass, but if it's worn in, hey, you know, we're gonna take that shortcut, right? It reminds me of that and it's not the same thing, but these animals definitely, they change their environment because they're so powerful and they're so intentional about their movements and where they go, where they're safe, where they know they're going to you know, find what they need. And I think that this is very much the vibe of, and I think this is like kind of a shared vibe. I think this is your, to some degree, your energy, but I think it's shared with somebody who is important to you. And I think, and this is where this kind of discovery, this thing that is being kind of revealed to you, you're revealing to yourself. I think there's been kind of a really consistent, safe relationship that you've had. And I am assuming that it's been platonic or mostly platonic, okay? But it could also be that you've been in a committed relationship for a long time and you've gone through, as we all do, different seasons. You've kind of, you know, not been so romantic, maybe not been so close with one another with all things. Not necessarily in a bad place. You trust each other, you love each other, but, you know, sometimes when you're with somebody for many years, some of the passion goes away, you know, and but that's not a doomed relationship necessarily. That's just an indicator when you become aware of your discomfort with that, or, you know, you want it to be different, that it's something to be worked on, right? And sometimes you grow as people. You're busy, you have, you know, a million things going on, and you have to make the time to reconnect and to get to know each other again, as who you are now and as who they are now. And you know, I think in the world that we live in today, people have a tendency to think that if there's any kind of discomfort in anything, or there's not a lot of immediate gratification or consistent gratification, be it emotional, physical, financial, whatever, that it's time to jump ship and it's just a wrong match and this isn't right for me. And hey, that might be true. Only you can really know that. But I think there is a feeling of, you know, kind of a throwaway culture. And so we break up and we find somebody else and we kind of do the same thing over and over again, right? And so if this is a relationship that you have been in, I think though, you know, both of you are probably very independent people anyways. So I don't feel like there's any kind of resentment or really any kind of upset feelings about where you're at. But I think that, you know, you're coming to a point where you're noticing them again. You're stopping and just, you know, looking at them and thinking, oh, wow, like, I'm really attracted to you, or I feel really safe with this person. Like, I feel really connected. I remember when we were really connected. I love the way you laugh, you know, or I don't know, just little subtle things that we forget about, right? And then suddenly it's like a different light was turned on, or the sun has changed its angle a little bit, and all of a sudden things are illuminated for you in your heart and mind. And and really, as I'm reading this, I think that this is definitely can work for somebody you are platonic with, like a good friend, a best friend maybe, or somebody you are already partnered with, okay? I do think that to some degree, I kind of imagine it more as being somebody you are friends with. But that doesn't mean that I'm right, you know, on that fine detail. But I think that suddenly, and this is after, I really feel like you've had relationships before that you were really into, but they burnt out. And maybe even, you know, they just, they got into places that were hurtful, maybe kind of, you know, damaging in some ways. I think that you probably weren't treated with the respect and the honor that you deserved. I think probably because of the type of person that you are, so so aligned with self and being authentic, and having, you know, just a very like a very apparent intelligence, ability, creativity. You're clever. You know, people sometimes get drawn to these things, and then when they get in the relationship, they are intimidated and they want to kind of make you small, right? And so they do things and say things and behave in ways that do not honor you. And I think that with this person, this has never been like that. I feel that you have always had good boundaries. You've always had respect. I think there's been a lot of consistency. And I get this idea that you check in on each other. They check in on you. They want to really honestly know how you're doing. They show up for you when you need help, or when you just, you know, want to hang out. And you just have always had, it's not easy, but it's easy, right? Like, you've been through a lot of things together, a lot of different phases, a lot of, you know, the life has changed in a lot of ways. And sometimes you haven't even spoken in quite a while, but you always know where you stand with them. Okay. And so I think that, in the place that you have developed into through probably growing up, as we all do, but also doing a lot of self-work and being more aware of what you want and what you need, what you actually need in life. And, you know, if you have a partner or decide to be with somebody, what you would actually need from a relationship versus like what you desire, on a very like surfacey level. Okay. And this person has just kind of been there, right? This whole time. And, there seems to be a growing intensity of attraction towards them. I feel like there's like this real desire to explore a romantic side of this relationship, or as we had talked about before, if you are already in a relationship with this person, I think that really a strong, deep desire for renewal of a passionate, intense, loving, affectionate, sexual relationship. And I think that really where some resistance is coming in is just knowing how to begin that, you want to be careful, how you approach this. You know, if you are just friends, it's been platonic. Of course, you don't want to ruin a friendship, right? If things don't work out that way, it would be devastating. But I honestly believe that this could be your person. I think that, you know, I think, and I want to be delicate with this. I'm not saying it's not going to be like the most passionate thing in the world, but I think that because you already know each other so well, there's not as many mysteries, right, to uncover about a person, which some people are really into. That's, you know, with their relationships, and maybe why some people have a lot of short relationships and they can't figure out why. They like the mystery of uncovering like things about somebody, getting to know somebody. You know, maybe they're they're supposed to be like a detective or something. And this is really drying up here, but I think that, you know, I really think that this is maybe worth investigating for you, or trying, approaching. And I really believe that you'll be surprised how receptive they are already. And here, before it dries up, there's two things. I want to shout them out before they dry up and if they move. We have a flower here, okay? And then we have a rabbit right here. Oh, and see, this thing just went flying down there. We have a rabbit right here with the side profile. Okay, so the flower, I think, really symbolizes they're going to be receptive to wanting to explore this with you, and I think that it's really going to bloom. Okay, with the rabbit, it's the year of the rabbit, so it's a lucky year. But I also think that, you know, there's that fertility and passion, and I think that physical side is really going to lock into place too. And I think that it's going to be more passionate than you even can imagine, really. And I think that I get the feeling that there is like this amount of innocence in your in the way that you relate to each other. So I feel like it's almost kind of fun to kind of begin to broach some of these these desires and these topics. And I think it will be, you know, I feel that the level of care that this person has for you, and the way that they are careful and how they speak to you, how they maybe touch you gently with consent, you know, with care, and just really noticing how your body language is. So they are playing, you know, you play off of each other. So I think that there's just like a really strong connection in that way. And I think that as, you know, this builds up and you start to kind of talk about and experience some of these like deeper connections, I think it's going to be really fun for you. And I think they're them as well. Okay. And I just wanted to, I can't remember if I brought this up already, but we have this, we have the Prince of Swords here. So, this is from the Thoth deck, and I need to get that. I'm looking at my own hands, not a view thing. I need to stay on task here. We have this person, and I think this really represents this person, okay? It's a very kind of youthful energy, and it doesn't matter how old they are, but I think it's really, they have a youthful, honest, kind of almost like, it's almost naive, but they're very intelligent. They're very clever, very capable, charming, okay? Very charming. And I think that they have a lot of ideas there, and they can, you know, figure out how to do things, but they've always kind of had trouble following through, and maybe organizing, and just even sometimes getting started on. They're good at conceiving, you know, conceptualizing, but they don't always get things moving. But I think part of this dynamic that you have with them and why you've been close with them for so long is that you're kind of more of that motivated energy that kind of pushes things into happening or helps them, you know, get along into becoming something, manifesting. So I think that, you know, together you're going to be a great team. I think you've already been a great team, but I think you will continue to be on deeper and deeper levels. And I think domestically, you're going to be amazing if, you know, it ever gets that far and you want to live together, or if you already live together. I think this is one of the big perks of this relationship, is that it's going to be easy domestically. Okay. And that, you know, maybe that's not like a real sexy thing to talk about, but listen, living with somebody is hard if you don't connect on that domestic level, if you don't have similar routines, if you're not both have the same vision for how your house is going to operate, if you know they don't know how to do anything, and you know whatever, and you have to teach them, or vice versa, whatever. There needs to be like a good meeting in the middle, right? And so when you connect domestically, in my mind, it's like foundational stuff. So when that's good and that's, you know, squared away, then everything else, you have a lot of space to really explore those other things, okay? I have this feeling that, and I'm going to hurry up and wrap this up here in a second, but I have this feeling that you have something of theirs and you keep it with you. And I get this impression that it's like something that has always, and this is timely for St. Patrick's Day. I think it might be today. I can't remember exactly. Oh no, it's in a few days. But maybe it's already passed. I don't know. No, it's coming up. Okay. What day is it? So St. Patrick's Day. So this fits in. This thing that you have of theirs, I don't know what it is, but it's something and you cherish it. And maybe they gave it to you, maybe you kind of borrowed it and never gave it back, whatever, but it reminds you of them. And it brings you luck. Sometimes it brings you sorrow, but it always brings you love, okay? And I think that you're figuring out why, right? You're figuring out, like, all the dots are connecting, and you're kind of out of that wild stage of maybe the kinds of people you've chosen to spend your time with before, and this might be your person. I mean, really, I get that feeling, okay? And if you all get married, or you renew your vows and stay together for a long time, then you can come back and tell me, because I want to hear about it. All right. So it's just a little happy face, okay? I think that you're just in a good place. And I think that, listen, because I think that you're already a really independent, able, happy, self-motivated, self-realized, doing your own thing, just like somebody that anybody would aspire to be. You're like a person that will go out to eat by yourself and totally be fine with that. You probably go to the movies by yourself. You would go on vacation by yourself just because you want to go do what you want to do. And that's something, I mean, I admire that. I really do. That's like a great quality for somebody to have. And the confidence and just being by yourself sometimes. I think because you are so grounded and so you know, just well, what is the word? Just like wholly whole, right? You're very holistic in all of these different areas. I think that's why this saying could be so great, because you've already done so much work with yourself, on yourself, for yourself, that you're the kind of person that is going to, you know, remain yourself as an individual in a relationship, and be able to bring so much to the union, because, you know, you're not just losing your identity in this commitment, right? You're still bringing so much of your own authentic experience and ideas, and, you know, I'm just overstating it, I guess, at this point, but reiterating and so on. But it makes me happy. And this is actually probably one of the best love readings that I've had. And look at all those tea leaves just dump off. It's a little warm in here tonight. So this is a really happy reading for me to do, and actually I'm gonna get ready for bed and be in just a blissful and happy state now. All right, well, thank you so much, Aquarius. I hope that all this works out for you. Let me know how you're doing. Tell me all about it. Tell me about this love that you have. Put it in the comments, okay? And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it helps me get into the algorithm, and I would be eternally grateful for any assistance with doing that. Other than that, if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do that, and you hit the little bell thing. It'll tell you when all of my videos are coming out. Aquarius, well, all of them come out about 12 days apart, so the next Aquarius will hopefully be in 12 days. I can't promise, because my husband and I are finally having a wedding ceremony, because all the COVID stuff's over, and, you know, so that will be in a few days. And I'm hoping to still do all my readings, because I love doing them. But if, you know, in between, please go and watch your other positions and placements. So you could watch your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising. I know a lot of people watch Venus placements too. And something I learned that I should have known is that people cross watch, which is where you go in the, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that, I'm confident that I know now what it is, that people go and watch for other people that are significant to them. So like for their husbands, wives, you know, daughters, whatever, sons, family members, they go and watch their signs and see how they're doing and stuff. So yeah, you could do that as well. I think that's, you know, I might go and do that for my family. So, okay. Thank you. I will see you again very soon.